Hey, one of the biggest questions that keeps leaders up at night is around this idea of why do my leaders seem so paralyzed around making decisions? If you ever wondered about this, the answer might be staring at you in the mirror. So the solution is actually simple than you think. Absolutely one of the top two pain points I hear is leaders curious why they keep getting asked to make all the decisions despite smart, competent people. They act like they're afraid without their approval of you, the leader. What I think is really happening is you've created what's known as a dependency chain. I lived it myself. It starts with this command control leadership and just flows down through the entire organization. Because when senior leaders are making all the decisions, everyone below them learns that, it's not my job to think, I just got to execute. And when they don't feel empowered, they certainly can't empower their teams. And the results, you got talented people throughout the organization waiting, crushing operational and financial stability in the business. You don't need more people, you need to engage the people you have. So you become the bottleneck for everything, or your leaders do if they don't keep moving this down. I learned this lesson the hard way early in my leadership time. I prided myself on being the guy with all the answers. Team brings me the problems, I help them solve. I thought I was doing the right thing. And in fact, it's not a good place to be. What I was actually doing was my teaching the leaders that they didn't need to think. I was training them to be dependent on me. And the more I solved their problems, the more problems they kept bringing to me. And then one day, one of my leaders said something that just stopped me cold. He said, "Hey, Mike, I've got ideas for improving our processes, but I thought I'd better check with you before doing anything." Boy, that hit me hard. I realized I've created leaders that are afraid to lead. And this breakthrough came when I realized, okay, I don't have to have the answers. I have to develop the people who can create their own answers. And I started implementing this idea around decision-making development. So instead of solving the problems, I started asking different questions. Hey, what options would you see? What would you recommend and why? What information do you need to make this decision confidently? Look, what's the worst case scenario if this doesn't work? And how would we handle it ahead of time to get in front of it? At first, very uncomfortable for the people and for myself. They were so used to me giving the solution. But over time, what started happening was I stopped being Mike the answer machine, and they started thinking like owners, not just employees. It took about 6 months, and people that were asking me for permission before started bringing developed solutions and bringing me decisions they had already thought through. So look, if you want to break this dependency chain in your organization, here's a framework I use in many of my examples. Step 1, take a look and audit your decision-making process. Track everyone that comes across your desk for a week. Then ask, does this really need my input at every single one of these? Step 2, decision right boundaries. Be explicit about what decisions need your approval and what decisions your leaders can make independently. You're going to be shocked to discover that you're involved in decisions that should have made 2-3 levels down. Then get into step 3, which is coaching. Help them work through some of these problems on their own. Stuff like, if you ask me, what would you do? Then coach them through their thinking process, just like the ones I mentioned before. When your leaders make good decisions without involving you, recognize it publicly. That's step 4, because what gets celebrated gets repeated. And finally, step 5, create safe to fail experiments. Give your team an opportunity to make decision, low risk situations, and let them experience it versus you tell them what your experience was. Because in the end, you can't build a successful, scalable business if every decision is flowing through you. So develop confident and competent people in your organization. It'll reduce your workload and multiply the impact across the organization. Your job is to develop other people to make great decisions, not just you making all the decisions. I'd love to hear what patterns have you noticed yourself related to this, and I'd love to have you share the experience below so that you too can start to develop empowered people. Let me know. Reality always wins.